Welcome back to Before Floor. We were just with you guys yesterday evening. So we are on the second night of a back-to-back as well. I am your host, Greg Sylvander. This is Before Floor, an extension of Five on the Floor, the Miami Heat pregame show on your Five Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Make sure if you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all those good things so that the data works in our favor. We are going to dive into the second night of a back-to-back. Miami faces the San Antonio Spurs back home. So that's good stuff. We love the home cooking in FTX Arena. Before we dive into the matchup itself and kind of run through some of what we expect tonight, I want to tell you about a couple of the great sponsors of the Five Reasons Sports Network. And the first one is, you saw it in the intro there, Biscayne Bay Brewing Company. So this is, the craft beer of Miami, we shall say, that whether it's the Tropical Bay IPA, the Marlins Lager, these are just absolute favorites. The Miami Pale Ale, they are the official beer of the Miami Marlins, the official craft beer of the Miami Heat, the official beer of the Five Reasons Sports Network. So when you're at your local spot, ask for it by name. Biscayne Bay Brew, Biscayne Bay Brewing Company.com. Check them out. You can even get one while you're at a Heat game. The other sponsor we want to make sure that we give a major shout out to is Mark Brown PA. You can find him online at markbrownpa.com. So, truthfully, whether you're a young single individual or, you're an older person with a family, this is the type of dude that you want to sit down with. He's going to be able to make sound financial decisions, whether it be setting yourself up, succession planning, we'll call it, for future generations, or if you just want to make sure your assets get in the right place, you want to reach out to Mark Brown at Mark Brown PA. You can get a free case evaluation, 954-566-5678. All you have to do is mention Five Reasons. Mark Brown runs a small firm there. They really allows them to be laser focused with all of their clients. They remain available, which is really important. Additionally, they work with a ton of real estate and title companies, so they can help you and they can get you in touch with the experts if they are not the guys in handling land or property assets. So again, markbrownpa.com. That's MARCBrownPA.com. And for a free case evaluation, 954-566-5678. All right, y'all. San Antonio. Pop's going to tie the all-time victories list, but he's doing so with nobody. Let me quickly run around the panel here. We have Brady Hawk live from the stadium. We have Tony Schwartz. You can follow him at Tony Schwartz NBA. We have Jonathan Ramlakan, three-piece combo. He's also on the ones and twos, so he's an MC and a DJ on this one. And then we also have Ricky J. Mark. You can follow him at Ricky J. Mark. So there's no reason why the Heat don't win this game. They're a 12.5-point favorite. Brady, who's in, who's out? I caught wind of a Dwayne Dedmon nugget, but I'll let you share it.
Yeah, it was just basically that he's going to warm up, I guess, and they'll evaluate him from there. I don't see a reason why he should play if it's going up until that point, and they don't know at this point. I don't see a reason to play him this game, to be honest. This is one of those games where not only you want to rest your guy, that you're a veteran, but also you it's not the worst thing in the world to see an Omer Yurtseven get a decent chunk of minutes. So for the Heat, obviously that's the case. The Spurs, just a lot of guys out. Pirtle's out, Dejounte Murray's out, Keldon Johnson out. Everybody that you know their name on the Spurs, they're probably out. I think Lonnie Walker is probably the guy that you have to worry about if you're Miami. But other than that, I think the focus is getting guys like Jimmy, Kyle, etc. The fourth quarter off.
Try again.
Totally with you. It's going to be interesting to see because you know how hard it is to scheme for teams when you don't really know who's playing. Sometimes that can be more difficult than when you're preparing for, kind of a young team anyway. I guess, Tony, I'll go to you here. From coming off what we saw in Madison Square Garden, the Heat basically controlled that game end to end. There were some moments here there where New York made it interesting, we'll call it. But interesting is like the word you give to a chef when they say, how does this taste? If you say interesting, that's not really good. So they made it interesting, but it was never really a game. How do you think Miami should approach tonight? Is this the type of game where the starters, where Spo needs to lean into his depth because of the fact that it's the second night of a back-to-back, or are you looking at the same closer rotation where you really have 7-8 guys that are getting 25 minutes or more.
Yeah, you can go a little deeper, but you got to start gearing up for the playoffs. This main core unit hasn't shared a lot of the floor together. So let's make sure they're getting run and getting used to each other and letting them ramp up at the right times and start to feel each other out at the right times. I don't think this is the portion of the season, especially at home. Like if you win this game, you get things done. They can get rest tomorrow. You know what I mean? So let's see what they've got. When we were playing the Knicks, we were able to push the pace and play in transition, and that's something we haven't seen for like 2 weeks. We want to see if we can keep getting those kind of looks out of this team because they're so slow, but they create so many advantages when they're pushing the ball in transition. So this is a chance tonight to make sure that you're executing ball at an efficient level, that you can get to the sets and the looks and the actions that you want to get to and play free, unlike that third quarter in New York. But every other quarter, we played really free basketball. So I want to see if they can execute their offense tonight against a hurt Spurs team.
Yeah, Miami's won 3 straight against San Antonio. They won 112-95 earlier this season. Tyler Hero was awesome in that game, 24 points, 5 assists off the bench. They've won 6 out of 7 against San Antonio. So whereas they used to for years, like, I don't know how many of y'all are old enough to remember this, but there was like years where the Heat would never win in San Antonio. That's changed a little bit. Jonathan, talk dirty to me about what we saw from Tyler Hero in Madison Square Garden and how he's going to look tonight, considering the fact that he did drop 24 and 5 against San Antonio the last time they met.
Yeah, not only that did he drop 24 and 5 in the last time, he was just very efficient tonight, and it seemed like he had his legs under him. Coming into this season, the major improvements that he had on his game was just quickness, mentally, but physically he put on that weight and everything just became a little bit sharper. He was able to get just a little more lift on his jump shots and just a little more burst going to the rim. We saw a lot of that last night coming back from the injury. I think we're going to see a lot of that again tonight. I think he's going to be one of the main spearheads, when it comes to scoring the ball. And I think with continued confidence with him, like Tony said, with continued growth with this group as a unit, he's going to continue to get better and find his comfort zone with those other stars around him and just continue to pick his spots and become a better sixth man for us coming into the playoffs.
So the last time the Heat and the Spurs met, I'm just looking back through here. Derek White was really the guy that killed him, and he's in Boston now, right? If I follow that correctly. Ricky, we're going to start with you here. Can you identify a random scrub Heat killer? They don't have to be a scrub. That's just what we call them around here. So people don't get all upset because the names that we say are not actually scrubs. It's just what we say. Who is the random scrub Heat killer that you maybe would advise the fans look out for tonight, considering it's a skeleton crew for Coach Pop?
I would say another individual by the name of Buckets, Dougie McBuckets. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's playing tonight. And if this Heat team is, man, do I even believe what I'm saying right now? If this Heat team is not careful, he could go off and really give them a problem. But I mean, look, honestly, Greg, this looks like the easiest weekend of the season for Miami. I hope they take advantage of it and just blow them out tonight. But yeah, Dougie McBuckets or Doug McDermott could be that guy for them.
I'm glad that you actually mentioned how easy this 2-game stretch is, because after this 2 games, it no longer is easy. And to Doug McDermott as the random scrub Heat killer on Prize Picks, he's at 11.5 points. He's done that 5 out of 5 games. And tonight there's a skeleton crew around him, so he's going to get a lot of usage and shots. I would go over Doug McDermott 11.5 points on Prize Picks using the code 5 to double your deposit. Brady, who's the random scrub Heat killer? And also, how significant is tonight, considering the fact that like the next 3 or 4 games are against legit contenders?
Yeah, I think that was funny because when you just said easiest weekend of the season, I'm thinking it's going to be the hardest probably week of the season coming up, because they have Chicago, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Philly in 4 games straight. Like, that is just a wild pack of games in there. But I don't know about scrub. I think McDermott definitely is an over for the Prize Picks. I think Lonnie Walker is still the guy to watch for the Spurs, because we've seen him do it, and especially the usage is going up without, like, the names that we're seeing in that injury report is crazy, because Dejounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Pirtle, like, he's going to get probably all of the touches running offense trying to score. So I did not, no way is he a scrub, but he's the guy to watch from that perspective. And I do want to say, I mentioned getting starters rest in this game and trying to get them out of. There is one specific starter that I think needs to play a little bit more, and that's Duncan Robinson, because we're talking about heading into a gauntlet of games coming up this week. Try to get him into some type of rhythm, no matter what it takes. Give him some extra minutes and just see what happens. I think he just needs to see the ball go in before this stretch, and that's probably one of the most important things.
It's a good point. You don't want him to have two donuts going into this week of heavy, serious Eastern Conference competition. Lonnie Walker's at 16.5 points on Prize Picks. Use the code 5 to double your deposit. Go over, because he's done that in 4 out of 5 games anyway, and now there's even less guys to get in the way. So good call there. Lonnie Walker is an over on Prize Picks using the code 5. Tony, what you got?
I love this. Somebody's got to score buckets, right? Like somebody has to put up points for the Spurs. I don't know who it's going to be. You know who led this team in offensive rating per 100 possessions this year up to this point?
Tupac Shakur.
Tomas Sederinsky. So
and he gone.
That's right.
He is gone, and he's gone from their team too. So I would have loved to pick him, but he got bought out today. Shout out Devin Vassell, Florida State grad. I don't have any analysis on this, but just shout out Devin Vassell. Maybe a random scrub heat killer tonight. I mean, it's going to be Lonnie. Lonnie's going to put up buckets, but man, you got to secure this victory tonight, because you're going into a murderer's row in the next couple games. So that's why I kind of want to play to start to secure this victory.
I'm with you. Let's get this over with early. Jonathan, did we get picks from you? Do we start with you? I don't even know what the hell we're doing. Do we get my picks?
No, we didn't get anybody's picks. But before we get into the picks, I do want to thank Abel Shaw for the $1.99 dono. He said, in the words of Royal, we're going to blow that ish out. And I absolutely do agree with you. Back to you, Greg.
Oh, no. Good call. So who's your random scrub heat killer? Did we get you? Now I'm not directing traffic. I'm a point guard confused. I'm being trapped.
I was going to go along the lines with you guys. Doug McDermott, he's been shooting, average last 3 games, 15 points a game. And with all those people out, I mean, I think he's going to find the shots. Whoever's on the court is going to end up being the random scrub heat killer, because like Tony said, somebody's going to have to score the points.
Yeah, I don't like Trey Jones. Just, he's annoying.
Jack Londale's just sitting out there, Greg. He's just sitting there waiting.
Right. So let's do quick picks around the room, and then so what are the next 4 games? Bear with me here. Let me just spit these out for you guys real quick. After tonight, Chicago at home, at Milwaukee, at Brooklyn, Philly at home. So that's 4 games. So not only do I want your pick tonight, in those 4 games, what do the Heat go? Ricky first.
I'm going to be conservative with it. I'm going to say they're going to be 500 on that 4-game stretch. I think they're going to have a slip up or 2. But I think if they win, if there's one win that I'm able to identify, I would honestly probably say the Nets. I'm not really convinced with them just yet. They are still the Nets. Ben Simmons his back is likely going to stop hurting after the Sixers game. So they're not going to have a full team anytime soon. So I think there's that one. You said it's the Bulls, Bucks, Sixers, and Nets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they probably beat the Bulls too. But I'm not so sure about the Bucks. I've been pretty consistent all year about this. Even if they do win, I mean, playoff Bucks and season Bucks are 2 different things. I think it's 500. And then Miami just handles their business after that.
Yeah, because then it lightens up. Brady, what you got?
Yeah, I think over that stretch, 2-2 is the easy answer, but I think it might be 3-1 because, first of all, as you were just mentioning, the Nets game sounds a little weird because when they say the name, it's like, oh, you're playing Brooklyn. That is not a good Brooklyn team right now. Ben Simmons not going to be there. I don't think the mask thing opened or the vaccination thing opened up in New York. They said it's planning to, right? So
no.
So it's Kyrie's still going to be out in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant's probably not going to play. So that's reasonably an easy game. I think it's very reasonable to be a 3-1 stretch. And then obviously tonight, I think this is a Tyler game. I think this is one of those rhythm games that you see heading into. This is one of these games where he just puts on a show because it's a relatively easy game. These are the games that we've seen him against drop play really well, but it transcends defensive schemes. Like this is just one of these games where he just goes out and hoops, puts on the show. I think Miami takes care of business pretty easily.
Tony.
If they go 500 over those 4 games, that's a stretch of 4-2 over the course of 6 coming back from All-Star break.
Solid.
And if Brady says 3-1, that's 5-1 since the break. they're in a position, no matter what they do, to just absolutely dominate the East and take that first spot. I mean, Chicago finds ways to beat teams that are under 500 every single night, but Miami's right there to win that first seed, and that could be really important going against a Bucks team in a playoff matchup. Look, this is an opportunity tonight to really get out in transition. You know, I think that the superstarter PJ Tucker set some incredible hammer screens for Duncan tonight. Duncan should light it up. He always usually plays well after he has a donut game. So let's go ahead and take care of business tonight against the Spurs. I have a feeling they'll play him tight for 3 quarters for some reason, though.
Jonathan.
All right.
You gutless, spineless coward. You're going 4-0 during that time. There is a potential, obviously, that we lose these games as there are with every single game, but we can win all 4 of these games. Like I full-heartedly believe we can win all 4 of these games. I think the toughest one is going to be the Bucks game. I think out of all of those, they're the most complete team that can put it all together. But I think every other team has their holes that Miami can expose. The Nets, we know down low, they're not really that big. They added Andre Drummond, but that just means Duncan Robinson will hit some more shots. The Sixers got James Harden, but we know how good Coach Spoelstra is at scheming against them and making that hard for them. And Gabe Vincent will probably go off for at least 30 against them because he's the random scrub. Sixers killer. The Bulls, we've already handled the Bulls earlier this season. That's nothing new to us, and I think we can do it again. Like I said, the Bucks is the toughest challenge of those teams. They're the most diverse offense as far as, they can hit you from a couple different areas. They're also pretty lengthy, despite the fact they don't have their centers with them and not many people to play next to Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I think we could definitely go 4-0 during that trip, and we, of course, get the win tonight.
The guts. Yeah. As Pusha T would say, right?
Yeah.
No, so I think they're going to run the table and then they're going to lose to Houston at home. There's how I'm mapping it out.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. It's guts to say 4-0, but then to say you're going to lose to Houston.
Yeah, you get home, you're feeling good.
That's called being realistic.
You're feeling good. It's a Saturday. They play Philadelphia next Saturday night. They're going to go out. They're going to feel good about themselves for running the table and really cementing themselves amongst the 1 seed. And they're going to, have a tough game against Houston.
I'm intrigued by that Sixers team, though. If all jokes aside, I want to see how because after that trade, they still kept Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, and Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, I mean, granted, the Timberwolves solid team.
They can't play defense, but
right. Well, we'll see.
Minnesota couldn't. So,
I want to see what happens with them because that dynamic between Harden and Embiid, I'm intrigued by it. I'm not saying they're gonna run roughshod through the West through the East, but I want to wait. Well, do we have 15 games left? I'm not even sure, but I'd like to see
probably 20, 21, 22 games.
Yeah. Seeding's not solidified in the East at all.
Yeah, the next 15 games, I'm really intrigued by how Harden's magically healed hamstring is going to hold up between now and then. I'm intrigued. I really am.
If Philly does it, it'll be unprecedented for somebody to come in and do that, and they figure that all out. But we're not going to spend the end of this show talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. Not on my watch. So thank you guys for joining us. Post Up after the game, I believe, is going live. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody who knows better than I. 5 on the Floor will not happen tonight, but we'll be back. Ethan will be back. So you will get an episode heading into Monday morning for your Monday morning drive. There will be, I believe, Paces and Spaces at halftime on Twitter. So look out for that. Brady's at the game. Follow him for all the coverage. Brady Hawk 305. And thank you for joining us. And again, as I always say when Ethan does not host, we end the show with Let's Go Heat.